Yeah.
24 hours of peace, peace, love, unity, safely having fun. Real hip hop for the people. It's an engagement. It's a demonstration. Using hip hop culture to get you activated. Let the people hear the bass and the vibration, the love, peace, unity, and watch them add on. It's a culture. It's not just rapping. It's not what we do. It's how we do it. We're doing it right here, Springfield Avenue, between Bergen and Plum. 24 hours straight, man. It's crazy.
We the people. The people of the culture.
Yeah, Ron Lawrence.
Fire. The hip hop culture.
Yo, we love rap.
Yes,
Love
we do.
it. Yeah, we do. But it's really about the culture.
Yeah, let them know how.
The realness. The culture.
Yeah. What up, man?
You know a hard head makes it soft behind. If I only knew my schoolwork like I knew them rhymes. Mom upside my head, I'm trying to memorize every line. High power rap breaks, super rhymes. Deep into the culture, didn't even know it. Young entrepreneurs spitting bars like a poet in a rush to be mature behind bars when we blow it. In the bold that rappers too immature to outgrow it. It was more than just music, something next to breathing. I get giddy like a baby trying to spit while I'm teething. The mic I be squeezing, dropping facts like I'm teaching. Leaking flows for the perfect beat seeking. Mama used to say, take your time, young man. But I'm trying to feel a light so you can see it when I tan. I'm like one I never ran, I'm a fan but never stand. Just take it black way to the east, X and out the clan.
Holy integrated, having omnipresent, we are.
But no one stopped to think about the people.
Holy integrated, having omnipresent, we are.
But no one stopped to think about the people.
Pueblo Unido, grassroots Steve Biko. Rule number one, never forget the people. I live that, I get back. Heart all in it, no gimmick, straight facts. From the start, I'm the light from the dark. Born from black art, knew my part. Daddy gave me, mama made me. North raised me, hip hop saved me. For the culture now, for the black and brown. Harriet Underground, sun up to sundown. Till my people get out, north to down south, spread like word of mouth. While you cowards is hooded, we battle the bullet. Black lives to the fullest. Out here to the end, stronger together, that's the day we win.
Holy integrated, having omnipresent, we are.
But no one stopped to think about the people.
Holy integrated, having omnipresent, we are.
Yeah. But no one stopped to think about the people.
The legends before me are ones I want to get it like, but hitting quick hit different when hitting right. Mob ties, this thing of ours is birthrights. Who's next for the culture and them searchlights? Doing to it, this music, I'm trying to talk through it. Every plan on my own, I watch the lie do it. Airborne, Tuskegee, like a Wendell Pruitt. Trumpets blow, this song's here, melodic ruins. Think for it before they have to think for 'em. Boom bap, I talk that and live enormous. Informers when present in your boy performing, especially when them drums snap by Brian Lawrence. Doing all that poet talk of the line crosser. Many hot and I speed by and flying saucers. Make it worth it, I can't take no feeble offers. Signed, sealed, and delivered, and you know the offer.
Holy integrated, having omnipresent, we are.
But no one stopped to think about the people.
Holy integrated, having omnipresent, we are. Here are the people.
Yes. That was Hip Hop for the People by HAKIM Green, featuring Amiri Baraka, Chief of Staff for the Honorable Mayor Raz Baraka, West Ward Councilman Do It All, Dupre Kelly, of course, from the Lords of the Underground, legendary hip hop group, Real Hip Hop for the People, produced by Ron Lawrence. Big shout out to him, no doubt, legendary hitman producer, responsible for some of the biggest records ever, from Big to the Lox to Jay-Z to LL and Faith, and goes on and on and on. Big shout out to Ron Lawrence. You can catch that song on the Aubrey album by myself, HAKIM Green, produced entirely by Ron Lawrence. Well, except for the song Smack. That was co-produced by yours truly, HAKIM Green. But definitely check that Aubrey album on all streaming platforms. That was Real Hip Hop for the People. So that song, Real Hip Hop for the People, is about what real hip hop is. It's not what we do, it's how we do it. And real hip hop should represent the best for the people who create it, the people who, give their blood, sweat, tears, pain into this thing we call hip hop culture, which is more than just the music industry, the rap industry, clubbing and partying. Yeah, we like to do all that, of course. But hip hop is not just that. Hip hop is everything that we do and the way that we do it. It's not what we do, it's how we do it. And we as hip hop just have a certain way of delivering a message, communicating messages, verbal and nonverbal. It doesn't always have to be rocking on the mic. It could be dance, it could be graphic art and design. It could be scratching on the turntable. It could be fashion design. It can be politics and government, as you see Amiri Baraka Jr., Chief of Staff for the Honorable Mayor Ras Baraka, and Do It All, Dupre Kelly, who is now West Ward Councilman for the great city of Newark, New Jersey. And even the mayor, Ras Baraka, is featured on Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. He has a spoken word piece that reverberated so heavy, Beyonce had to use it during her concert, this one that just went past early this year. She snatched it out of thin air and was like, yo, what is this? And incorporated that into her show, which shows you the power of hip hop, spitting these bars, spitting these rhymes, but also standing up for something. You know what I mean? You're going to stand up for something or you're going to fall for anything. Now, tonight's guest is the one and only, the phenomenal, magnificent, the powerful TAMIKA D. Mallory. She's running a little late. She hit me on a text. She's so busy. She stays putting out fires. She stays active. She stays doing the work, which we're going to get into later when we actually have her on when she pops in. But you know her, of course, from her work with the National Action Network. You know her work with Until Freedom. You know her work with TMI, which is co-hosted by my brother Mysan. You see her involved in putting on peace rallies, anti-police brutality rallies. You see her demonstrating and protesting and being active when it comes to putting the pressure on the federal government, namely the current president. Yeah, you know I'm about that language all day, every day. So as we kill time, I want to play a video that I put out in 2017 with TAMIKA's partner, my son, called Dump Trump. And, try to stay on message, give you real hip hop, and kill some time as we wait for our sister, TAMIKA Mallory. So real quick, I'm going to jump into this Dump Trump by myself, my son, produced by DJ Heron, video by the phenomenal Benny Boone. Let's go.
To a mostly white crowd in Michigan Friday, Trump urged African Americans.
Why do you have to lose? You're living in poverty. Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. 58% of your youth is unemployed.
I moved on her like a bitch. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the I can do anything.
You roll like Trump, you get your beat lump. DJ Harold, don't Trump. You roll like Trump, you get your beat lump. Yeah, don't Trump. You roll like Trump, you get your beat lump. Don't Trump. You roll like Trump, you get your beat lump. Don't Trump. The Nazis didn't lose, they adapted. Plus, Hitler was financed by American capitalists, anti-Semites and white nationalists. Hire Steve Bannon as the campaign strategist. Identify the activists, label them extreme. Tell them Rosa hit the road, get that Ben Winch off the team. It's about the green and giving it to the rich. Robert Mueller puts the pressure, trying to find a snitch. It's like Rockefellers, turn Carter's page. Back to the Nixon era, Watergate. Now we in like Flynn, hold down the Manafort. He tried to ban Muslims, thank God for higher courts. Dude is just
just evil. Taxes unbelievable, and we never got to see is like them shits is unretrievable. Is it even feasible when everything is just for views? He can release his own taxes, then tweet his fake news. His name is Donald, and Fred ain't raised no wussy. He ain't no Billy D, so he just grabs him by the pussy. As for allegation, there's 16 open cases. Since before Central Park 5, we knew he was racist and sexist. The clown is reckless. The fool is at the button playing with a death wish. What are we left with? A wall or a fence? A lot of pride before the fall. Hope we don't get stuck with Mike Pence. My name ain't Paul. That is up to y'all. I'm on live for Black Panther, reading the final call.
You rolling like Trump, you get your beaten up.
Dumb Trump.
You rolling like Trump, you get your beaten up.
Dumb Trump.
That's right. You rolling like Trump, you get your beaten up.
Dumb Trump.
You rolling like Trump, you get your beaten up.
Yeah, Trump is a disgrace. I mean, how many lies is gonna take? How much time is he gonna make? False statements for each side. We gonna place his behind bars for buying the whole race, and y'all just gonna waste taxpayers' money.
For real?
White tweeting and beefing with other countries. We still hungry. Schools getting shut up. He too weak to do anything about it. He truly has divided the whole nation. Blacks even in jail or probation. We all facing the worst administration.
That's right.
Where they sin condone discrimination. We all getting impatient. Trump gotta go. So let's impeach him or vote him out the door. One thing's for sure. If you voted for Trump, then you deserve to get your meat up.
You rolling like Trump, you get your beaten up.
Dumb Trump.
You rolling like Trump, you get your beaten up.
Dumb Trump.
You rolling like
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here, wishing you a very...
All right, we don't need a Ryan Reynolds commercial, that's for sure. So y'all saw what it is, dump Trump, off rip, in the first administration, when he won the first time, we was on it. Hip hop stepped up to the plate. We said it early. You see, I gathered, a bunch of different folks from the hip hop community. And, we was all on the same page. I thought we was. Over time, the Joker started jumping ship, He started going over to the other side. I ain't going to name no names. You know who they are. If you know who they are, you can put it in the comments, please. Oh, by the way, I need y'all to like, subscribe, hit the bell, share this page, wherever you are, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, share this live, share this stream, subscribe to the channel, no doubt. Also visit me at HAKIMgreen.com, HAKIM green.com, madisminc.com, and 24hoursofpeaceinc.com, 24HRSOFPEACE Inc.com. Make sure y'all check in with your boy. Come visit. Now, the sister is on standby right now. Tamika shout me out in a text. Let me know she was hemmed up. She had to take care of some business that was extremely important, but she would be on. So I'm just trying to kill some time and, send out these public service announcements. We down here at Art Basel this weekend. I'll be doing a Respect the Classics event. You can check the IG page and the Facebook page for more information. That's a 2-day event, Friday and Saturday from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. We're doing art installations using old school album covers. Respect the classics. We're trying to not bring it back. We're trying to bring it forward, actually. We don't need to bring it back. We're going to take what was back and bring it forward and make it something new. Art Basel is a worldwide art festival. People from all over the world fly in to, celebrate art in all its different expressions. So we decided to come together and Madism, Cool Brands, House of Brands, and a few other folks decided to come together and celebrate art. Now, we don't like the word old school. We don't get old, we get better, like I like to say. True school, classics, vintage, legacy, hip hop. That's what we about. Legacy, the true school, whether it's old or new, it's got to be true. It's got to be official. You got to be down by law. You can't just be jumping in the game with any old, bibbidi bibbidi bobbidi boo. That's the new rap right now. So we gotta switch that around. Invest in these young people so they start outputting something significant because the times we are headed in, oh my God, it's crazy. And only the future can save us, but we have to program the future to do just that, is save us. And it's definitely the youth. The youth have to step to the plate. You know, I guess I'm considered the youth by some people's standard. You know, I'm not the oldest person in the building. Well, sometimes I am, but what you gonna do? What you gonna do? But you know, we keep it youthful. We keep it invigorated. We keep it energized. You know, we keep shining. We keep projecting positivity. I think positivity is key in staying youthful, staying young, staying positive. It's hard in these days and times, no doubt. Everybody's stressed, including your boy over here. But, you know, you try to approach life with a smile on your face, and hopefully life smiles back. Actually, it will smile back if you're just patient. Life will smile back at you. You know, I'm just running my mouth right now, bumping my gums. Maybe I could play something, another selection that makes sense while the sister gets it together. I definitely have faith in my sister. She promised, so I know she's coming through. She's just handling, this young lady handles the world, to be honest with you. Talking about TAMIKA D. Mallory. I'm so proud of the work that she does. And, you know, not just in the New York area where she's from, but, you know, all around the country, standing up for our people in a major way. And she's somebody that I like to highlight as much as I can in my walk. Herself, of course, my son, and everybody affiliated with what they do, from the anti-violence initiative that she's helped launch in New York City, to the pushback on police brutality, to her support of Black Lives Matter, which is one of the topics I want to get into. But she needs to be highlighted, and that's what this is about. But until she gets here, let me run this video. It's called Stolen Art, featuring Carl Thomas. Once again, produced by Ron Lawrence, who produced the entire Aubrey album. This is called Stolen Art by your boy, HAKIM. Something out of nothing, the culture grew from breaks. B-boys with fat laces helping DJs carry crates. 12 inches with the name covered up, 45 black with tape. Needle dropping on the get down part on the one, never late. Moonwalk look like skates, time is infinite like the 8. Built to destroy the devil's world, God body at the gate. In God we trust, the dollars we lust, catching crumbs off the cake. Now we bop to a beat on walls of concrete in Northern State. It was 88, we was victims of a scheme. It was all just a dream, but now my homie is a fiend. We live for the culture, but we kill for the cream. Trying to make the street light up, stay on your toes, Billie Jean.
How can you justify what you've taken culturally? You love to lie, to hide the truth. Do you really think you're me? Really think you're me? Think you're me? Think you're me?
It's like hip to the hibbit, flow liquid like exhibit. It'll create the culture with every breath as I live it. They try to prohibit, but I'm the master to pivot. No gimmicks on point like a digit. I'm like Malcolm, ready to rock it. Get your hand out my pocket. Everybody the gatekeeper, but y'all forgot to lock it. Swear by culture freedom, I got more rights than Tubbs and Crockett. Now my boy Elroy, out to space like space's rockets. Truth be told, we was crushed from the cold. Niggas getting high off the dust from Sugar Hill. Now the truth gets sold with strippers on the pole. Delight, just with rappers for the thrill. Get the rush from off one pill with flashes on the wheels. Singing white lines with my brothers and folding bills. Slinging white dimes when Uncle Joe wrote that bill. Around 94, fucking around with Hillary and Bill.
How can you justify what you've taken culturally? You love to lie, to hide the truth. Do you really think you're me? Think you're me? Think you're me? Think you're me?
It was go and tell. Now y'all go and tell. Hop on the gram, look, show and tell. No ethics and no codes, just cut the pie a la mode. Spinning red whites, now lights the block like a strobe. Behold, the pale horse that he rode. Here to bring death with guns to unload. Conspiracy to conspire, there's a theory on the wire. When Cohen is a priest whose doctrine is the liar. Here to rob the hood, I keep it tucked like the friar. Grew into a man following rappers I admire. No more b-boys in the cypher, no more DJs catching breaks. And everybody in the trap with 45s wrapped in tea. The culture has been raped, pimped out, and straight flooded. Just like the Bronx in the 70s, everything gutted. Trusted, rusted, busted and disgusted. We should have shut it down when Chuck said not to trust it.
How can you justify what you've taken culturally? Love to lie to hide the truth. Do you really think you're me? Think you're me? Think you're me? Think you're, oh yeah.
Peace, Tamika.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Good. I'm good.
Yeah, I appreciate you so much for taking time. I know you're a busy lady. I've been watching you this past week. You were in DC fighting a good fight, right? It was DC?
Saturday. Yeah,
Saturday.
we were in DC on Saturday.
Yeah.
The days go by so quick. Sometimes I don't even remember where I was. As I was telling you via text message, I'm under the weather. I've been sick since Friday after Thanksgiving, and we just been going and going still. Just things happening every day, important things that we've been having to get to, and we just keep pushing. But I definitely need to go somewhere and put my head on a pillow.
I feel you. So we're not gonna hold you. I really just wanted to highlight you.
Glad to be here with you. Glad to be here.
Right. No, it's all love, but I was telling the audience earlier, the work that you do, how committed you are, it's really next level. I think it's to be admired. I come from a time in the late 1900s. Just the culture of hip hop in the late 80s, early 90s was more conscious, and not just conscious in the music, but there was connection to grassroots organizing. The KRS ones, of course, but the PEs, the X-Clans, they had the battery in our back. And, I got involved with the campaign to free Black political prisoners and prisoners of war. I was, following Rev around in terms of Yusef Hawkins and going to Bensonhurst and that and marching,
Absolutely.
And then, when the culture kind of went in another direction, the allure of activism kind of waned as well. But then when folks like yourself kind of picked up the baton, it was like, yes, and watching you for a while. So I just want you to let the audience know, where you're from and then what inspired you to get active.
Man, well, first of all, my parents raised me in the movement, so I don't know anything different. This is what I do today is just a manifestation of their, investment in me understanding the importance of being community oriented when I was very young. I can't tell you a time when that I remember where my parents weren't doing something for or with other people that had to do with Black empowerment. They were always in a group. Maybe when I was younger, the group was not as big and as high profile as what later became our engagement in National Action Network and, working, of course, with Reverend Sharpton and all of that. That is where it kind of developed. But when I was really little, it was just like downstairs in the little room in the project building. They were always involved in something. And I can remember them, feeding communities, going to the precinct to learn more about some issue that's happening in the community. They would go to the precinct council meetings. They used to sit on street corners. I will never forget the time of 125th Street before most people who are just sort of coming into contact with that area. A lot of people don't even know and have never been exposed to what 125th Street used to be. But it was very much so like a university for us because my family would walk. We lived on Broadway, old Broadway. So we lived all the way by the highway on the west side.
Wow. Yeah.
And my parents, we would walk down to Grant Projects, which is where my sister Yandy is from. And we would get to the corner of 125th Street and they would just walk from the west side to the east side, probably around Fifth Avenue. And as we walked that way, the journey of people selling history books or the Zane books, right? So you learned about women and women's bodies. You learned about history. You get to the Mart 125 area and it was political. Dr. Leonard Jeffries would be out there. So like I said, that has been my entire life. Even when I didn't know what they were talking about, it was a part of my influence.
Yeah. So hearing you describe that, it just takes me back to the word culture, and what that truly means when we think of culture. Culture is really to develop. You know, at the end of the day, when you take a culture of something, you're taking a piece of the development of something to see what is infused in it, what composes that thing that's the culture. So we're talking about your journey down 125th and all the different parts of our culture, Black culture, that you come in contact with. It's African, from Africa, African American, you know, you probably see brothers from the nation out there, you see Hebrew Israelites out there, you see people who are Christians out there, you know, all from the west side to the east side. You're being cultured, but then like that culture of organizing and activism, you being raised in it, how important that is, and how we need to reinvigorate that part of our culture.
Yeah. And that for me, it was, you know, what I do every day in terms of being a convener and an organizer, that is where being a practitioner comes into place. So that's comes into play. That's a little bit different from, you know, believing in the movement, being an activist, just being in it, you know, having passion for the issues. That's obviously important. And it's the start, if you will, for me, for anybody that I meet that's like, oh, I want to be, or I'm going to, you know, get engaged in a movement and I want to lead. It's like, first, have you served? You know, have you learned what it is to be in good service? So I did that. By the time I become an organizer, that is from me now sitting at the feet of other great people and learning without much ability to talk. Because that's like the old school way that nowadays we have evolved. We now give voice to our younger organizers.
I want to put a pin in that, right? Because when you talk about some of these greats and these giants that you just immediately have respect for.
Oh, yeah.
Can you name some of them so we can get?
For sure. I mean, obviously, I have to, you know, mention Reverend Al because he was one of the, you know, most important influences in terms of him being able to recognize greatness in me. And to be clear, I believe my pastor, Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, who's the chairman of NAN and also chairman of the Conference of National Black Churches and pastor in Mount Vernon, New York. He was probably the first person to say, this young lady has something that we need to develop. She, you know, and I was like, oh, I'm going to leave NAN at this point in my life. I'm going to go on, you know, now to go to corporate or do something else. And he's like, no, she needs to stay here. We need to make sure we cultivate what we see in her. And so I have to give the two of them a lot of credit for that because Reverend Sharpton was like, cool, let's see what we can do. And the next thing you know, I had one leadership role to the next, to the next, to the next. And by the way, it's leadership by fire because nobody was like coddling my feelings. Trust me. But then I would say, you know, I watched people like Dr. Ben for years, Dr. Benjo Hakim. You know, this is a man who went, rest in peace. When I was young, I would watch him and he was so far advanced in terms of the things that he was saying and the ways in which he articulated the history of Africans in America, that when I would look at him, I'm like, there's no way he's talking to me, so I might as well not even like pay attention, right? Because I'm like, this is so far. But he would take the time to get me to sit down and break it down in little small bites for me to understand. And many people like Dr. Esther Hyatt, who else would I say? Dr. Shashi McIntyre. I've talked about Dr. Leonard Jeffries. You know, even, I mean, I don't even want to get myself in trouble for trying to name all the people. Dr. Fulani. I used to see Dr. Fulani. And she used to hold her own with the men. Like they could not talk over her or dismiss her. She was so powerful. So I grew up in that era, Hakeem, where it was like those kinds of individuals and listening to them, Dr. Attorney Alton Maddox, hearing them speak every single Saturday morning, Wednesday nights, going to different things. So I learned, yes, speaking and issues, but I also learned what it meant to organize people, to bring people in, and to identify talent within people and give them positions to help us organize more people. I watched National Action Network when my parents first helped. They started with Reverend. So when Reverend Sharpton broke off from whatever, I can't remember where he was in Brooklyn, and he decided to go to Harlem and start his own thing. My parents were two of the people who may have been 20, back then, to start with him. I watched the auditorium go from 20 to hundreds of people packed. That was real organizing work. And it's different, for people who are showing up in the movement and the hundreds are already there.
Yeah. Not to expose your age, but so my introduction to Reverend Al Sharpton was, of course, Yusef Hawkins.
Yeah, right.
And
and his father, Moses, was like my godfather.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Moses.
So I saw the documentary A Dark Cloud Over Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And it caused me to reflect because, and I'm saying, Reverend Al Sharpton is a polarizing figure. Right. And it's it becomes a lot of pushback on Rev sometimes. And when you reflect, the documentary A Dark Cloud Over Brooklyn caused me to remember how Yusef Hawkins' dad, Moses, kind of had to really pressure Rev to take the lead in that demonstration. And it was pushback from Rev, like he didn't want to be the face of the right. And he was like, now I was at the demonstration in Bensonhurst that he got stabbed at. Right. I was there.
Wow. Like, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm reflecting and I'm like, man, like how many people are willingly putting their life on the line? Actually. Right. We social media, everybody's everybody got all the answers. But when it comes to doing the work and organizing people for a goal, there's a difference. And I would like for you to kind of talk about the differences in those understandings.
Well, just to go back to the point around Rev's, saying he didn't want to be at the forefront. I mean, and I don't remember that story because I was so young. But of him not wanting to be at the forefront of the movement. I mean, look at all he's been through. He's, he obviously has had to. One day he and I were talking, and he was like, as it relates to Tawana Brawley, he was a person who believed in Me Too before there was a Me Too movement. Me Too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's true. Like, he supported this woman before people were out here saying believe women and all of that. So he has a history. There's so many different things that have happened, to your point, the stabbings, stabbings that you see in blood and some that happen when no one knows, that I now understand after having the last 15 years of being on my own as a leader. I know exactly what that apprehension is about, that you don't want people always pushing you to the forefront. Because I can tell you, when something was happening recently and I just laughed with him, I called him and I said, people were telling me to go jump out the window about some issue. I don't even know what it was, but it was something. And I said, and it's funny because everybody's always telling you, no, go, you got to do it, say it, do the thing. And then when the shit hits the fan, most of those people are gone. When you can't feed your family because, people are all of a sudden afraid of you and you can't speak anywhere, can't go anywhere, can't, teach anywhere. Then all of a sudden, those people who were telling you, nah, battery in your back, you got to get out there. Where are they? Do they donate to your organization? Are they showing up to make sure you have the things that you need? Are they giving you opportunities? No. And that happens sometimes with my corporate friends. I bump into people and they're like, yeah, we need somebody to speak up because what they're doing to us. And I'm like, yeah, you'll speak up. Let's do it together. Let's do it together. I'm willing to help. I understand the importance of having somebody with a megaphone, somebody who, is going to speak truth to power, but I'm not going to jump out there by myself. But I had to learn that, and I learned it the hard way. So I can understand that apprehension that, that he was experiencing, because I've definitely been there. No, don't make me the martyr. I'm good,
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's a bunch of different knocks on him, but I've seen him walk into the belly of the beast with gangsters.
For sure.
And shift the table for our behalf.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, to that point, as the face of the movement, we have to get away from that. And I like what you said about, you do it. Let me come help you. Like coalition building and how important that is to,
absolutely
address that coalition building and well, we'll get to that part of the conversation, but coalition building.
Yeah, I think that coalition building is like the key. Like I found that I didn't know what it meant to really build a coalition in the past, because at NAN and in other, and even though National Action Network is a part of major coalitions to do a lot of things, but we still had a very high profile organization, and we were sometimes in a vacuum, right? Like, so it wasn't, yes, we were part of coalitions, but we were pretty much the leading voice most of the time, right? So that's how I was raised. And then, or that's been my experience. But as I stepped out of NAN and began to exist in a larger world, working within the Gathering for Justice under the leadership of course, Carmen Perez and Mr. Harry Belafonte, I began to learn more about the power of following sort of the Ella Baker model of a leader full movement versus it being one leader or two leaders, right? Like I began to actually appreciate that, because the trauma associated with being the one or the face it's not sustainable, quite frankly. It goes around in cycles. Therefore you take the most darts, right? It's very similar to what we were saying just a moment ago. And so the coalition space gave me an opportunity, one, not to carry all the weight. Although whenever I'm a part of anything, I've accepted that I'm still going to be probably the person who will experience the most vitriol for whatever it is. I mean, I joined Mamdani's transition team, and there's 40 articles about, all types of things about me. Other people on the transition team, powerful people, smarter than me, more accomplished, make more money than me. They got it going on. Nobody's saying anything about them at all. Me, they hitting me up. Just, bing, bing, all day. So I accept that that's my reality. But what I learned about coalitions, and speaking of that, Lamumba Bendeli and I were saying we're in good company because he is also being, I don't want to say attacked, but they're trying to question him as well in the press around his appointment to the transition team and to Mamdani's transition team. And we were saying, oh, okay, we're in good company, right? And so that's what coalitions do for me. For me, it puts me in good company with other people that can share the weight of the responsibility, can help make decisions together, can, and just again, be responsible for building a thing that gives people other points of entry. Because sometimes, and I find that, in working with my son, that has been one of the great benefits has been that there are times when my message may be powerful, but it is not going to resonate with a brother who might be, just coming home, or had been home for a while and just has different ideas and a different life experience, a different lived experience from mine. When I bring my son into the fold, then the brother's like, okay, I can go and participate in this, even with her being in the leadership, because I see other people around who make up a larger, more diverse pot of thinkers, right? And so for me, there's nothing more powerful. I never ever want to lead as the single voice. I never want to do that. I have found the coalition building, the working together with other groups and other people, like-minded or not. Sometimes we work with people who if they're completely over, as long as they're not with Trump. Because if you with Trump, it's a no. It's a dump Trump for me. It's a complete no. Okay. As long as you're not with Trump, I'm willing to work with you.
Right. So I'm glad you brought that up because there's so much I want to talk to you about. But let's stay on the topic of tangerine, orange.
Yeah, it's sad.
and I'm from Jersey, but a New Yorker. You being from New York, us knowing and seeing him for so long and how he moves and how he operates. Dumb question, but why do you feel this way about Trump?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I watched Donald Trump very closely in the first presidency, right? Like, forget about what we know about him from his days here in New York, because, no matter what we say to people, folks are always going to be like, yeah, but this one is bad and that one is bad also. So I don't even want to get into the debate about all of that. I'm just going by first term, which we knew he shouldn't have been president at that time either, but it happened. So here we are. Everything that he wanted to do, or the things that he was saying he was going to do that he couldn't get done for various reasons. They were learning their way around Washington, learning their way around politics. His people at that time were so extra corrupt, not that they're not now, but they're more covert than overt. He had Steve Bannon and them up in there. I mean, it was so terrible that they were not 100% successful. They absolutely impacted the economy, as we see now. And we watched it even during the Biden administration, because we inherit the economy of the administration. Right. So when Trump becomes president, he inherits Obama's work for 8 years, right?
Who cleaned up the mess that George Bush and them caused.
Who cleaned up George, exactly. So we know that, but as I think about what he was saying, what he stood for, he stands in front of the press now and He calls women, names, calling people piggy, calling people. He was doing all of that before, right? He was doing that during the first presidency, but it wasn't as vile or as often. It was vile. It wasn't as often as it is now. So why now do I feel the way that I feel? It's because I already know who he is. And now they are actually making it happen. They needed the second term. It's part of the reason why he was probably so upset about leaving in the first place, because after those first 4 years, they kind of got their footing. They figured out who they needed and what they needed, and they needed the second term to put into play all the things that's happening here in front of us in this moment. And so now that he's back, they're back with a vengeance. They're back to move swiftly in terms of changing this nation to be very much so like what they wanted in the first place. Maybe Project 2025 was around at that time, but they were not ready. They are completely 100% full throttle ready to change America, as they say, back. They want to make it great again. And who is it great? Who is it going to be great for? We
Rich
know.
white men.
Exactly.
Rich white men. Ultra rich white men.
Ultra rich white men.
Also, man, I don't want to belabor the point on him too much, because I think there's another conversation that's more important for our people, which is party affiliation and how we get down that way.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Trump and all of them for the topic, I call it the through line, historical through line. And if you know about Joe McCarthy and McCarthyism, McCarthy era, just how, it was accuse. You're a fascist. You're a communist. You're a communist. You're a socialist.
Right.
You're gay. You're this. You're that. Right. And that was Roy Cohn, who was Joseph McCarthy's general counsel, who's actually the brainchild for that whole technique of Joe McCarthy.
Yeah.
He's also a very big power, or was a very big power behind Richard Nixon. He also mentored and grew Donald Trump. He was quoted as saying, after he lost Roy Cohn, and he was going through his troubles with Michael Cohen, he wished he had an attorney like Roy Cohn who could get it done. So if you just, for the audience, look up Roy Cohn, look up Trump, Nixon, Roy Cohn, Joseph McCarthy, and you'll see the through line, and you can clearly see who Trump is. All right, we know he represents the Republican Party, but it's kind of like beyond party politics when you really know what he stands for. That said, Democrat versus Republican, as it has to do with Black people and our allegiance to things. I like to say it's not about being a part of a party. It's about what party you can leverage. What do you say about that? I think I lost Tamika. She froze. You there, Tamika? She froze up on us. All right, well, McCarthyism. That's right.
You there?
There we go. You back.
Okay, cool.
McCarthyism is surface.
Yeah, I was going to talk about McCarthyism. I'm like, also, when you're doing your research, make sure to look up Mussolini. People look at Hitler, but Hitler got his ideology from somewhere, and Mussolini is really the standard for
corporate fascism.
But fascism, dictatorship, but really like I really want to get this right. It's like these people are vile murderers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how
worst to worst.
Yeah, like how I don't know how best to be able to explain it. You guys are, much more articulate in this area than me, but these are people who have created like mass murder, mass oppression, and are experts at it, right? Like you can study them to learn how to go about
extermination.
How to go about oppressing nations of whole people, not just like the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? Like these people anyway. They're not
extermination. It's like we say oppression, and it's like, no, this is about extermination. It's about creating the systems that run on autopilot where we exterminate ourselves. And if we don't do it ourselves, there are mechanisms in place to finish the job when it's time, whether it's health and wellness, food deserts, just the programming. This AI thing is a whole nother world. I know it's such a part of everything that we do, but it's like we're feeding our own extermination by the utilization of AI. You find out Peter Thiel is behind it. Of course, Elon Musk is behind it. When you see all the folks that are behind it and their connections back to Germany and back to Mussolini's Italy and back to South Africa, and like when you start to see the through line and you see who's on what side of the goddamn line.
And that's like, and this is why everything that he does. I mean, these people like to say Trump is stupid and he's whatever. No, these people are very, very, very intentional.
Yes.
Now, I don't have to call them intelligent, but they're intentional. They have an idea of what they want this America to be. And by the way, they're not just looking at shaping America. They want to shape the world. They want to shape the world. And so, getting into the back and forth with people arguing about which party is better than what, and Kamala's laugh and all of this stuff. It's like, man, for us, we're choosing at each time the best opponent. I love Mamdani, right? I think he's super cool. I talk to him. He's fun. He's funny. He's down to earth. He's got all of that. But I am 100% sure that we will have to protest him in about, maybe he'll get a good year. Maybe. And I think that might be irresponsible on our part to wait a year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He might need his first one 6 months from now, just so we can be on the same page about the power of the people. And because he is a politician, and as he begins to think about, because as soon as day one of him being in Gracie Mansion happens, he's automatically working towards his first day one of the next 4 years, the next 4 years, you know what I'm saying? Next term. And so when you're trying to figure out how you're going to stay employed, you're going to make decisions that kind of helps to keep everybody, or at least the people who you'll see as the most powerful.
Yeah, I'm sorry, because it's not just him, it's him and everybody he represents. So he has a cadre of professionals, educators, politicians that also are depending on him to move a certain way, so they keep their jobs. And
the thing for us is that Black men was his largest group voting base, right? So I have a responsibility to ensure that I help empower our brothers to say, no, because every other community who has the dominant either fundraising and or voting in a particular election, they get phone calls, meetings, policy, they get the attention to some degree, except Black women in the Democratic Party, but that's a whole other thing. They get the type of attention that they deserve. So what happens when my mother's a senior citizen who lives in the Bronx? Man, the seniors are huge voters. They donate. The politicians line up. They make sure the community center is good. The dance school is working, and they moving, going around, dancing all over the Bronx, and they make sure they got the uniforms, and they see to it that there's the handicap ramp, and whatever things they say they need. I'm not saying they do it all, but there's at least you get the attention of the officials. That's right.
The effort, because I want a second term, and this is my voting block that I need to lean on come 4 years from now.
So Black men should not be ignored in this administration. Absolutely. And the thing about it is the Black man and the Black family is simultaneous as it is with Black women. So we have to be invested in how Black men are respected. And so I'm going back to the point that you made about the issue of parties. I don't want to have to fight Andrew Cuomo or Curtis Sliwa. You know,
Yeah.
I prefer to fight Mamdani. You know, because at least there's some people over there that might take my phone call. But nobody gonna listen to us but Sliwa, and we already know who Andrew Cuomo is. So what are we talking about here?
So to that point, right? You know, the first time I could remember meeting you was at a Malcolm X celebration at the Autobahn.
Was it? That was a long time ago, by the way.
That might like 2011, 2012-ish, maybe 2013, 14, something like that. I had remember seeing you at rallies and protests and on TV.
Yeah.
And in the wings, I was always like, that sister's gonna. But then meeting you, and then you knew who I was, and it blew my mind. But I was like, oh wow, okay. But I met you at the Malcolm X Audubon Theater, and Malcolm is just, you know, everything to me, and his analogy of the wolf and the fox. And people throw that at me all the time. Ah, man, the fox is the liberal, progressive, he's sly, but the wolf is lets you know who he is. And I'm like, yeah, but I'd rather fight the fox.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I don't want to empower the wolf. I don't want to fight the wolf pack. I don't want to escort the wolf to the wolf pack. I don't want to do that.
No. I don't want to fight. It's like me trying to go jump in the ring with Clarissa Shields. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to fight her, right? That's not what I want to do. I want to go try to fight somebody that's a little bit more my size. You know what I'm saying?
What that says is not about fear. It's not about that.
No, this is not about fear.
It's about achieving the goal of winning the fight.
While also understanding that that person who, I'm going to stick with Clarissa Shields. This is a person who has been training to slaughter. Like they asked her on Sherry Shepherd's show, what does she think when she looks at her opponent? She said, kill, like die, like that's it. It's no compassion. There's no, you know, I don't want to do that. I'm not that angry. I'm not, that's a joke, but I'm just saying that ain't what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find, if I got to get in the ring, let me get in the ring with somebody who I have a chance at really being able to like compete with. You know what I'm saying? That I have
and bring over to our side so we can get resources for the people. That's what we really talk about.
Exactly. I don't want to get knocked out in the first second. You know what I'm saying? Please give me 3-4 rounds of back and forth, and then hopefully by the time we get to a certain place, it's like, okay, we're equal at least or close to it. And maybe we can sit down and actually have a conversation at this point. But you get in the ring with somebody who's coming to kill you, coming to take you out.
And you're not prepared.
And you are not prepared.
You're not prepared. And that's the point, is that unfortunately, you know, we're not prepared. And no, we're never going to be 100% prepared.
Right.
No, we're not. But while we have the time to prepare, can we just prepare a little more? But to switch the conversation over to reparations, because you know, they're never gonna give us reparations.
No, they're not.
We gotta go take reparations. Do you think that we could put ourselves in a position to take?
Well,
for instance.
Here's what I'm going to say about that. And as I mentioned to you before, I have to get on this other show tonight, the State of the People Power Tour. People who want to know how this is continued. There's an actual network. And on Thursday nights, they have a show where many voices come and talk about real issues, just like you're doing on here tonight. And I'm supposed to be giving an update on the boycott. So you and I may need to do a part 2, because I'm willing to come back and talk about more issues. But I'm sorry, say the question again. It was.
I said they're never going to give us reparations.
Well, you know what?
We have to go take reparations.
There's a lot of things that I thought we would never see, right? I thought we would never see a time when people would challenge Israel the way in which we see today. Go ahead.
Right. Well, so not that we won't see reparations, is that we have to take reparations.
I agree. Well, what I'm saying is that I believe that it's interesting how, because we also have to always think about how God is moving at the time when, you know, we forget that sometimes. Yeah, we know people power, but there's a God power too, right? And I am beginning to see people shift in their conversation around reparation in a way that I'd never, ever witnessed in the past. And, you know, when I talk about Dr. Ben and others back in the days, in, you know, 30 years ago in this movement, they were talking about reparations then, and folks were telling it completely out of their mind. They were crazy. And in fact, it was damn near criminal to even bring it up, right? It was like a secret conversation. You know what I'm saying? Now you've got real commissions in New York State, New York City that are looking at reparations for real. And of course, in places like California, you know, you've got a real movement that is becoming more mainstream and more of a mainstream conversation. And I actually think, Hakeem, and I'd love to, you know, you and I to talk about this more again at another time, but I actually think that we're moving in a direction where, yes, we will have to be forceful about it. So I agree with your point of taking it. But I think that we're moving in a direction where the subject is becoming much more palatable to people, and they're beginning to understand the importance of righting the wrongs of. And I think Trump is helping to make that happen because the harm is so significant. The 800,000 Black women who've been pushed out of the workforce from January to September, I think we're going to start to see, something powerful happen around reparations. That's my opinion.
And let me, I know you got to go, but the word take for me is putting people in position who can write and influence legislation to make it a go.
And it's happening.
And it's leveraging our power to bring people over to our side of the argument so we can actually make it happen. But and I think that's happening. I think when you have somebody like Hakeem, you could be there for sure. But when you have somebody like Raz Baraka, of course, now you're going to have a Mamdani. You have folks in the state of New York, from upstate all the way Buffalo down. They have reparations committees that are working throughout the state, and they're commissioning conversations around. But you couldn't do that 30 years ago. You just couldn't do it. So you're going to see, you know, with some of our Black mayors, Black and brown mayors, you're going to see, I believe, more people interested in the conversation. And I think what we will therefore see is people power pushing it at the same time. And I actually think it's going to happen. That's what I think. And maybe I'm being, you know, naive, but that's what I think. Let me go run to this interview, my brother. Thank you. Yes, and we're going to have you back on ASAP.
Let's do it. Maybe we could try to do it again next week. I'm down.
Okay, there it is.
All right, now. Love to you. Bye.
Love back. Bye.